Humans are creatures of habit. We wake up, drink coffee, have breakfast, go to school or work or whatever, but no one really stops to think what we're putting in our bodies on a daily basis.
Hot dogs or bacon could be just as dangerous as smoking cigarettes.
Diabetes could affect more than 1.3
The declining life expectancy.
Increase in cancer rates.
heart disease.
A major health crisis.
On average, how much vending machine food do you buy a week?
Dude, I bought like 25 bucks yesterday.
A lot. I had three bags of chips, and I had a bar.
What did you have for breakfast today?
Nothing. Well, it's just snack fruit gummies.
Our generation is 80% more likely to develop onset cancers at an earlier age compared to past generations. The grim truth is emerging. Our dietary habits are fueling a silent epidemic.
Studies will say like 67% of our food system in America is ultra-processed foods. And what people don't know about that is that if you look at a big food corporation who is contributing to that 67%, they hire food scientists. Food scientist's job is not to figure out what parts of foods are good or bad for you. A food scientist's job is to figure out how to make a food more addictive. And they're also studying the way that foods impact your dopamine system. Dopamine is responsible for any addiction. So if you look at an addiction as extreme as heroin addiction, it's dopamine. So the food that you put into your body should be nourishing. The food that we're putting into our body, mostly in America, meaning the ultra-processed foods, they act more like a drug than nourishment. If you were to look at the amount of additives that are allowed in America versus Europe, whole different game, right? There are probably thousands of additives that are legal here that are not legal there.
Europeans tend to have diets that are less reliant on processed foods and more whole grains and fresh meat and vegetables, which is why they're significantly healthier. Meanwhile, in America, we allow thousands of additives that are linked to diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer. All these processed foods are affecting your gut.
Inside of your gut, you actually have this living, breathing system of bacteria. So when people say microbiome, it's just bacteria. There are a couple different factors that are the most important pillars, right, of health, not just for your gut, but for your whole body. And those are the diversity of your microbiome. So having a diverse microbiome, really similar to like a diverse rainforest, right? Very complex, a lot of redundant systems, which means if you get a bug that comes into that system, it's resilient, right? Versus, let's say you have like a monocrop field of corn only. If you get one bug in that field, the whole thing can be wiped out, right? So really similar to your microbiome. And what happens when you eat processed foods is that the gut microbiome becomes less diverse.
I mean, one of the big shocks to me in traveling in rural India was that in towns that didn't have groceries and didn't have supermarkets, there would be stands of Frito-Lay potato chips. So you have the alcohol industry that is trying to do everything that it can to minimize the people's understanding of the harm of alcohol. You have the cigarette industry, which worked for decades to cast doubt on the idea that cigarettes cause cancer. You have pharmaceutical drugs and opioids that the companies who made those drugs pushed for years and said weren't addictive. And you have the food industry that's job is to sell products, not promote public health. Well, they need to learn how to cook. Well, I mean, it makes an enormous difference. I think home-cooked foods taste better. I mean, I like the taste of them. I like vegetables. I don't like eating highly processed foods. They don't taste good to me.
We grow our own product. We don't buy it, we grow it.
I know where it comes from.
It's super important to educate people on what good food is.
In the end, it's your choice what you want to put in your body. After all, you've only got one. Treat it right.